What if I told you your blood type is more than just a letter on a medical chart? What if it's a quiet clue about your health, hinting at diseases you might be naturally protected from, and risks you should probably know about? Your blood holds some fascinating secrets, and today we're going to explore them. For many of us, our blood type is a random bit of trivia we might not even remember. But a growing body of science shows that the A, B, and O markers are more than just for transfusions. They're ancient signals that can offer surprising insights into how our bodies work, influencing everything from our risk of heart disease to how we fight off certain infections. So, what are blood types really? Picture your red blood cells as tiny ships. On the surface of these ships are little flags, or markers, called antigens. If you have A antigens, you're type A. B antigens, you're type B. Both, you're AB. And if you have neither, you're type O. This is also why getting the wrong blood in a transfusion is so dangerous. Your immune system creates antibodies that attack the antigens you don't have, treating them like hostile invaders. But these antigens also affect how bacteria, viruses, and other molecules interact with our cells. This is where the hidden health advantages and disadvantages start to appear. We're going to break down each blood type to see what the latest research says about your personal risks and your built-in biological armor. Let's start with the most common blood type on the planet. Section 1. Blood type O. If you have type O blood, you're in good company. It's the oldest and most widespread blood type, but being common doesn't mean it isn't special. In fact, people with type O blood seem to have some of the most significant health advantages. The biggest one is related to heart health. Multiple large-scale studies have shown that people with type O blood have the lowest risk of heart disease compared to all other blood types. Specifically, you have a lower chance of having a heart attack or developing dangerous blood clots. So what's the secret? It seems to come down to a protein called the von Willebrand factor, or VWF, which is a key player in blood clotting. People with non-O blood types have, on average, 25% higher levels of this factor. Higher levels of VWF can make blood stickier and more likely to form clots that block arteries. Type O blood, with its lower levels, tends to flow more freely, reducing that risk. Another remarkable advantage is a natural resistance to severe malaria. The parasite that causes malaria has a much harder time attaching to type O red blood cells, which significantly reduces the likelihood of a life-threatening infection. Some research also suggests type O blood might offer protection against the bacteria that causes cholera, though this link is less established than the one for malaria. However, it's not all good news. The same trait that lowers your clotting risk can become a problem after an injury, as your blood might not clot as quickly. Furthermore, the surface of type O cells seems to be a prime target for a very common troublemaker, the Helicobacter pylori bacterium. This is the bug largely responsible for peptic ulcers, and studies consistently show that people with type O blood are more susceptible to developing them. Let's start with the heart. Numerous studies have connected type A blood to an increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. Compared to type O, individuals with type A blood have a statistically higher chance of developing heart disease and suffering a heart attack. One major study found that people with A or B blood were more likely to have a heart attack. More recent research has even suggested that people with type A blood may be more likely to have a stroke before the age of 60. Why? It goes back to that von Willebrand clotting factor. Type A individuals have higher levels of it, making their blood more prone to clotting. This genetic tendency doesn't mean heart problems are inevitable, but it makes a heart-healthy lifestyle an especially powerful tool. The risks for type A don't stop there. This blood type is also associated with a higher risk of stomach cancer, which is one of the most consistent findings in blood type research. The reason seems to circle back to that same H. pylori bacteria. While it tends to cause ulcers in type O folks, in type A individuals, the infection is more likely to trigger an immune response that can, over a long time, lead to cancer. Studies have also pointed to a higher risk for pancreatic cancer. And then there's stress. Some research suggests that people with type A blood tend to have higher baseline levels of the stress hormone, cortisol. When you're in a stressful situation, your body might produce an even bigger surge of it, making it physically harder to calm down. So, are there any clear advantages for type A? The science is less certain here. Unlike the strong protection seen in type O, there aren't many well-established health benefits exclusively linked to having type A blood. The main takeaway for those with type A is one of awareness. Knowing you have a genetic predisposition for these issues isn't a diagnosis. It's a powerful call to action, emphasizing the importance of diet, exercise, stress management, and regular medical checkups. We're about to get into the details for blood types B and AB, but first I'm curious. So much of this is about understanding ourselves better. Take a second and let me know in the comments. What's your blood type? Do any of these risks or advantages match your own health experiences? I try to read as many comments as I can, and it's always fascinating to see the patterns. Okay, let's get back to it. Section 3. Blood type B. Now let's turn to blood type B. This type is more common in parts of Asia and has its own unique profile. While it doesn't carry the same cardiovascular warnings as type A, it does seem to have a particular vulnerability when it comes to certain infections and metabolic health. One of the most notable risks is an increased susceptibility to certain bacterial infections, like some strains of E. coli and Salmonella. There's also evidence linking it to a higher risk of tuberculosis and infections from Streptococcus pneumonia, a common cause of pneumonia. The B antigen on your red blood cells can unfortunately act like a welcome mat for certain pathogens. Some bacteria have evolved to mimic or bind to these surface markers, allowing them to get a foothold more easily. Another area of concern for type B is metabolic health. Several large studies have found a link between type B blood and an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. The exact reason isn't fully understood, but it's thought to be related to underlying inflammatory processes that are subtly influenced by blood type antigens. This doesn't mean you're destined to get diabetes, but it suggests that managing sugar intake and maintaining a healthy weight is particularly important. On the heart disease front, the news is mixed. While not considered as high risk as type A or AB, type B blood does carry a greater risk for heart disease than type O. One major study found an 11% increased risk of coronary heart disease for people with type B blood compared to their type O counterparts. So, what about the advantages? Like with type A, clearly defined, science-backed health benefits for type B are harder to find. Some theories suggest type B individuals may have a more adaptable immune system in some respects, but these ideas lack the strong scientific consensus that supports the risk factors. Section 4. Blood type AB. Finally, we arrive at the rarest blood type, AB. Found in only a small fraction of the population, type AB is the newest blood type in evolutionary terms. It has both A and B antigens, which makes you a universal recipient for transfusions. But it also comes with a unique set of health risks. Perhaps the most talked about link is between type AB blood and cognitive issues. One notable study published in the journal Neurology found that people with type AB blood were more likely to develop thinking and memory problems that can lead to dementia compared to people with other blood types. It's important to note this is an association found in one study and needs more research, but the finding was significant. What could be the connection? The answer may once again be clotting. The same study found that people with AB blood had higher levels of factor VIII, a key clotting protein. High levels of this protein are a known risk factor for vascular issues, which are deeply connected to brain health. Essentially, the stickier blood that raises heart disease risk may also damage the delicate blood vessels in the brain over time. Speaking of heart disease, type AB appears to carry the highest risk of all. Research from the Harvard School of Public Health found that individuals with type AB blood were 23% more likely to develop heart disease than people with type O. This group combines the risks associated with both A and B antigens, which can lead to more inflammation and higher concentrations of those clotting factors. Given this list of disadvantages, you might be hoping for some big advantages. Unfortunately, just as with A and B, science has yet to identify any clear health benefits unique to the AB blood type beyond its status as a universal recipient in transfusions. For those with AB blood, this isn't a sentence, it's knowledge. Knowing you have a higher genetic risk for cognitive and heart issues gives you a head start. It underscores the critical importance of a brain-healthy and heart-healthy lifestyle, focusing on exercise, a balanced diet, managing blood pressure, and staying mentally active. Section 5. The personality connection. Now, we can't talk about blood types without mentioning the idea, especially popular in Japan and South Korea, that your blood type shapes your personality. This concept, known as ketsueki gata, is a huge cultural phenomenon. According to the theory, Type A people are seen as earnest and responsible, but also anxious. Type B people are passionate and creative, but can be unpredictable. Type ABs are rational and adaptable, but also indecisive. And Type Os are confident and optimistic natural leaders. It's a fun idea, kind of like a biological zodiac. But what does the science say? The overwhelming scientific consensus is that there is no reliable evidence linking blood type to personality. It's widely considered a pseudoscience. Some studies that found weak links suggest it might just be a self-fulfilling prophecy, where people unconsciously adopt the traits they're told they have. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? Your blood type isn't your destiny, but it is a useful part of your personal health story. If you're Type O, you may have a natural edge against heart disease, but you should be mindful of stomach ulcers. If you're Type A, knowing your genetic predisposition for heart issues and certain cancers makes a healthy lifestyle and stress management that much more important. If you're Type B, you have extra motivation to manage your blood sugar and be proactive about your metabolic health. And if you're Type AB, you have the most powerful reason of all to protect your brain and heart health, starting today. Ultimately, researchers agree. Lifestyle factors like diet, exercise, and not smoking have a far greater impact on your long-term health than the antigens on your red blood cells. The benefits of healthy habits are universal, regardless of your blood type. Think of your blood type as a genetic whisper, a hint from your ancestors about where your body might be strong and where it might need extra support. It's not a reason to worry, but a reason to be informed. It's like being handed a single, secret page from your own instruction manual. And now, you have a better idea of what to do with it. If you found this insightful and want to learn more secrets about how your body works, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.